Want to know how I saved 3.5k by booking Lapland? Then continue watching because I have had so many messages on how I booked Lapland this year. So I did a lot of research into Lapland last year as it is a bucket list I've always wanted to go, but my kids were very little last year. So this year they're now 5, 4 and 2, and although they are still very young, especially Darcy, I want to do it this year to try and keep the magic of Christmas alive, which sounds daft because I do have a 5-year-old, but he questions a lot of things. A lot of research and compared a lot of prices with different travel agents, and they was all offering around about the same price for this a 1-day trip, and that was between 3.5k and 8k for a family of 5 for a day. Now that is a ridiculous amount of money, but I put everything that was included within the price, and I've tried to match it up as much as possible and take out the things that don't really matter on a holiday. Like I said, my kids are still very young, and Darcy's far too young for stuff like husky rides and stuff because she's just going to get too cold. It's 5 hours long, and she's not actually old enough to do it. So the main activities we actually want to do is, of course, see Santa, and seeing Santa is free, so you can interact with him and his elves, and there's lots of activities to do at the Santa's village, and the only thing that does cost is if you want to have a photo with Santa, and that's €50, which I will admit is a lot of money, but considering the price of the packages, I'll pay that €50 just to keep the memory. Another activity on the bucket list is, of course, seeing the Northern Lights, and again, I know it's not guaranteed, but you do not have to pay hundreds to see them. So instead of doing a tour, just download this app or any app on the App Store that works like this one, and just wait for a notification on when it is best of you. Go find a nice place to sit and watch them, roast your own marshmallows. You'll save yourself a lot of money and you get to do it in your own time. Another thing on our list is to experience sledging, which is free because there is a lot of sleighs outside hotels that you can use, and I know that the snow is not guaranteed at the time we go, so it might not be possible, but if it is, again, it's free. So let's get into the most important part, and that is how I've booked this holiday on a budget, and I've not actually told you the cost yet. It's actually cost me under £500. So what you want to do is, I always say, get on Skyscanner. The cheapest time to visit Lapland at the moment is at the end of November, and if you kind of want to wait until after Christmas, which to save a lot of money, book in January. I'll also include some dates right here if you do want to book it in December. These are the cheapest dates from the cheapest airports. For flights, it's cost me £245 return for 5 of us. It would have been cheaper if I was able to do different dates in November, because Liverpool have got flights going out for just £17 per person, which is ridiculously cheap. Lots of different hotel options, especially if you're on a budget like myself. I've chose to stay in the centre of Rovaniemi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm 10 minutes away from Santa's village, very close to the science centre, which I know Logan will love to visit, and it's just central for everything. Now, if I was to book this again in a few years' time when my kids are older, I would go further afield and use the exact same hotels as what TUI use down in Levi, not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, because there's so much to do for when they're older. And I also found that these hotels are actually really cheap. They start from like £60 per night. Now, the hotel that I've chose has cost me £185. I've not actually paid it yet, so my hack is, if you do the pay later option, save the page, reserve it, and then just keep checking every now and again. And as soon as that price drops, cancel the booking and rebook. I always do that. It saves so much money. A lot of effort it is, but it's a good way to save money, even if it's just like £2. But majority of the time when I have rebooked, it's been like a good 20 quid I've saved. I want transfers, so I'm staying in the centre, so it's actually not too expensive. So if it was to get a taxi, it'd cost us €30. And if it was to get public transport, it only cost us €4, which is not too bad. It's a 20-minute journey. Now, just to add, if I were to do the husky rides, it'd cost me £800, which is a lot of money. But saying that, it still saves me a hell of a lot of money than not booking a package holiday. It works out about £200 per adult and £140 per child. Now, that was just like the first 5 tours that I'd seen online. It could be cheaper when you're there, I don't know. It could be more. But that's a roundabout price that I calculated, and it was about £800. And you're looking at a good £100 each for majority of tours in Lapland. Like I say, I only picked the activities that were suitable to do at the moment, and majority of them are free. If I was to go in a few years' time, I would definitely pay £800 for husky rides, and I'd probably pay for skiing as well. Anything else, probably not too fussed on. Now, on to clothing. So the package holidays do actually include clothing that is suitable for whilst you're out there, which does get pretty spenny. If you are going to book a package holiday, your child needs to be free, as I found out recently. If you're going to book this yourself, what I'm doing is I'm going to get some ski stuff from Decathlon, and I'm using Vinted as well because we are literally just going for the one-time thing. So I don't want to be spending hundreds and hundreds on something that's going to be worn like twice max. And for that, I have budgeted around 250 to get second-hand clothes. That might actually be overpriced myself because Vinted is very, very cheap. But in case I can't find everything I need on Vinted and I need to go elsewhere like Decathlon, £250 should just be enough. But I'll cover that as time goes on, especially like preparing to go there, and whilst I'm there I will then be able to say the full cost of everything, how much it's cost on public transport, clothing and eating food out there. I will cover the costs on. But yeah, I hope that's answered everyone's questions, and if I haven't, just give us a message or comment below and I'll try and answer them. And if you've been to Lapland, feel free to comment your experience and any advice that you'd give to anyone that's going. But yeah, hopefully this proves a point that you can do Lapland on a budget.